Hi, welcome back to the Language of Data Toolkit. Let's get started on video 4, where we will be discussing z-score. In the previous videos, we talked about the measures of central tendency and standard deviation. Now, using both of that information, we will learn about z-score. Z-score is the distance a data value is from the mean in terms of the number of standard deviations on a normal distribution curve. So, a z-score is the number of standard deviations the data value is away from the mean. For example, a z-score of 1 is 1 standard deviation above the mean. A z-score of negative 1.8 is 1.8 standard deviations below the mean. A z-score of 0 would mean that the data value would be equal to the mean. In order to find the z-score, there are formulas that we can use. Before that, we must recognize the symbols inside the formula. Remember that we have seen these symbols before from the past videos. Now let's take a look at the formulas. The first formula is for population z-score. This formula is very common. In this formula, we have the x, which represents the individual data value, the mu, which represents the mean of the population, and the sigma, which represents the population standard deviation. The second formula is used for sample z-score. You may not see this as much. In this formula, we have the x, which represents the individual data value, the x bar, which represents the mean of the sample, and then the lowercase s, which represents the sample standard deviation. Now let's do a quick example on recognizing symbols and calculating z-score. You scored a 210 on a test that has a population mean of 175 and a standard deviation of 20. Assuming normal distribution, what is a z-score? We know that we're going to use the population z-score formula, z equals x minus mu over sigma. Formula, we need to find x, the individual data value, which is 210, mu, the mean of the population, which is 175, and sigma, the standard deviation of the population, which is 20. Put it all together, and the z-score is 1.75. This tells us that your score is 1.75 standard deviations above the mean. In this video, we discussed z-score and the symbols involved in the formula. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.